Hello, everybody. Girls, say hi to your friends at home. Hey, guys. So what we're gonna do first is we are going to check our DBQ that we had for virtual classwork either yesterday or the day before. I think it might have been yesterday, right? All right, so let's get those out. I'm gonna pull it up here. No, that's not it. Dun, 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 dun. This is it. Excellent. Edit document. No, I actually don't want to do that. Edit. Open the desktop app. There we go. Okay, we skipped the first part and we went right to document. Went to right to part A for document 1, which was short answer questions. Oh, it's not on the screen yet. I'm such an idiot. Okay, hold on. Are we in? We're good. Excellent. Okay, let's see. We're going to zoom a little bit and I'm going to turn the lights off. Oh, thank you. God forbid I stand up for once in my life, right? All right, so what we've got going on here is part A, short answer questions. You should analyze the documents and answer the short answer questions that follow each document in the space provided. So let's check this out. Document 1. We are fast verging to anarchy and confusion. How melancholy is the reflection that in so short a space we should have made such large strides toward fulfilling the prediction of our transatlantic foe. Leave them to themselves and their government will soon dissolve. Will not the wise and good strive hard to avert this evil? What stronger evidence can be given of the want of energy in our governments than these disorders? If there exists not a power to check them, what security has a man for life, liberty, or property? So, girls, who wrote this? Sierra? George Washington. And who did he write it to? Nicole. James Madison. When did he write it? Go ahead, Michaela. Excellent. So we know that this is after they declared independence from Great Britain, okay? Based on the photo and from the text, we know that this image is an image from Shays' Rebellion. Okay, is there anything else we know about this photo? What else do you guys know about this image and from what was said in the text? Okay, if you go up here, right, the Articles of Confederation, which were ratified in 1781, provided that the first form of a national government was established in the United States. In 1787, a convention was called to revise the Articles. The convention developed an entirely new form of government as outlined in the Constitution, which sought to address the weaknesses of the Articles. The preamble of the Constitution states the following goals for the new system of government. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Okay. So now we know that they had to revise the Articles. Shays' Rebellion, we know, served as a major turning point where the governments knew that the Articles of Confederation weren't working as is. They had to change them or revise them. Okay, so we see this letter from George Washington to James Madison. According to Washington, what is needed to prevent an uprising like Shays' Rebellion? What is needed to prevent an uprising like Shays' Rebellion? Go ahead, Michaela. They need law and order. Okay. Excellent. let's look, okay, so Lauren, you tell me too. Go ahead. What do you have as well? Because you're right, we need law and order.
I said there needs to be a strong central government so that they can provide a strong army.
A strong central government for a strong army. Okay. What else? What else do you guys have? Everybody had to answer it, right? We need law and order. We need an army to shut down this kind of rebellion. What else do you guys have? Go ahead, Sierra.
It means that the central government to step in to check the states.
Awesome. Great. Right. Okay. So according to Washington, what is needed to prevent an uprising like Shays Rebellion? Oh, it's one of those where where you type in and it goes like that. It stinks. Okay. So we would say, according to Washington, okay, because it says here, if you look closely, right, this is a close read. You want to break this up as much as you can. We are fast version to anarchy. What is anarchy? What is anarchy? Oh, you guys broke rule number 1. Whenever you read a word in a text and you're analyzing the text, you don't know what it means, you have to look it up. Someone look up anarchy on their laptop. Nicole?
A state of disorder due to the absence or non-recognition of authority.
Excellent. Anarchy is the lack of government, right? The lack of government, meaning there's no government there to control the country. Now, how melancholy is the reflection that in such a short space, we should have made such large strides towards fulfilling the prediction of our transatlantic foe. Leave them to themselves and their government will soon dissolve. Basically, what this is saying is that Great Britain expected this to happen. They said the United States will never even last. They're going to turn against each other, and their own people will be the cause of the deterioration of this union. The people are going to turn against each other, fight each other, and then this whole new government, this independence that they just acquired, they're going to lose it because they're all going to battle against each other, and then it's going to be a state of anarchy. And so what Washington is saying is, look, the British predicted this would happen. What are we doing? Will not the wise and good strive hard to avert this evil? What stronger evidence can be given of the want of energy in our governments than these disorders? If there exists not a power to check them, what security has a man for life, liberty, or property? So basically, what he's saying is without checks and balances in government, okay, without checks and balances in government, we cannot secure our natural rights, which was basically the reason why they even revolted against England in the first place. Basically here, Washington emphasizes the need for a central government to oversee the states. And, this is an example of, because the central government has certain powers that the states don't have. And the states have certain powers that the national government doesn't have, but they share power. So basically, please also take note that the government in the U.S. will succeed under a federal system where the states share power with the central government. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? Basically saying if the central government had more power, they could have shut down that uprising. All right, are we ready to go? Okay. Document 2 is an image, the Articles of Confederation. Rough sailing ahead. Based on this cartoon, identify 2 problems with the Articles of Confederation. Give me one. Amelia, give me one.
They have a national court system.
No national court system, you said?
Yeah.
All right, I'm not even typing these. Give me another one. Gianna, give me another one.
No power to enforce laws.
No power to enforce laws. Give me another one. Go ahead, Michaela.
No power to raise an army.
No power to raise an army and no power to collect taxes. Also, no power to enforce treaties. Basically, you see this ship, right? And this ship represents this big Articles of Confederation. But then you see these waves, right? These waves around it that are going to knock it down and cause a lot of problems ahead, all right? Based on this cartoon, what phrase is used to summarize all of the weaknesses of the Confederation? Go ahead, Cam.
No power to enforce laws.
Exactly, and why do you know this?
Like at the bottom.
It's at the bottom, right? It's the entire ocean, and each of those waves is coming up from the ocean. All right, what else do we have, Gianna?
I was gonna say, I thought it was rough sounding head.
So down here, this no power to enforce laws is the bottom, and it goes all the way across the bottom, and all of the waves are coming up from this no power to enforce laws. Because laws aren't just like legislation that you pass. Laws are your system of government, how you operate off of it. It's law and order. But yes, so, but I can see that but the thing is that rough sailing is the title. Oh, no, it's still a phrase. It's just, no, I get it. And then, so what idea is the cartoonist expressing when he titled this political cartoon, Rough Sailing Ahead? Wait, so based on this cartoon, so girls, whenever you answer questions like this, right? Is used to summarize all the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. While waves such as no power to raise an army are attacking the ship. Each wave comes from the ocean of the lack of power to enforce laws. You know what I mean? It's all the waves are coming out of the ocean. And the ocean is the lack of power to enforce laws. They are drowning in that phrase. What idea is the cartoonist expressing when he titled his political cartoon, Rough Sailing Ahead? What idea is the cartoonist expressing when he titled this cartoon, Rough Sailing Ahead? Lauren?
That it would be like difficult to continue on under the Articles of Confederation because there were so many problems with them.
Excellent, good. So the cartoonist is expressing the difficult future waiting for the Articles of Confederation. The cartoonist suggests that due to the factors, to the issues written in the waves, the Articles of Confederation will struggle to operate to continue operation. Exactly. So basically rough sailing ahead, meaning, is this gonna be an easy journey? Probably not. And it's not gonna be an easy journey because all of these things, they're putting more water in the ship, and eventually the ship is going to sink. Does that make sense? And that's all you did, right? Yeah, okay, awesome. So that was good. We're going to look at chapter 2 now. That's not what I want. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so I think the last slide that you guys have, oh, all the way down. Is it this one? It's this one. It's this one. All right, cool. All right, we'll start from here then. Slideshow begin. It's not how I want it to look. It's look like this. Oh, there I am. Okay, let me just. You can see like this, right? Can you not see like this? Okay. I'm gonna go. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna see a call to revise the articles. What caused this call? What brought it on? Shays Rebellion, right? So do we have these or do we need to go over them? You don't think we have them? Oh, we do. We do, yeah. Oh, okay, then I'll keep it on for a second. I'll just go over it. Yeah, so basically, the Articles of Confederation, girls, what don't they have? Or give me, or so what is the Articles of Confederation like? It is the nation's first form of government. What is it comprised of? What is the Articles of Confederation like made up of? What's it made up of? What branch of government is it? Okay, so it's the legislative, right? Because it's Congress. It's the legislative. It's Congress. And are there two houses or one house in the Articles of Confederation? Okay, it's one house. How many delegates? How do they choose who goes? Like, how do they choose who's in the government? Go ahead, Cam. Not in this one. It's one house and it's one vote per state. Okay. The Articles of Confederation, are there any other branches in it? It's a trick question because no, there's no, right guys, look. Oh wait, you guys don't know this because, wait, no, yes you do. Yes you do. Did you not know it had one house? It's right here, one house Congress. Okay, I'm not losing my mind. It's a one house Congress with the power to act on matters of common interest They pick new states, all this stuff, but the states have powers, they have 1 vote per state. Okay. I almost lost my mind. I'm like, did I miss that part? Okay, so, in March of 1785, after States Rebellion, we know that the biggest problem with the Articles of Confederation was the fact that it could not tax. So it could not raise an army, could not pay for soldiers, do any of that stuff. And so because they had no money, they were weak. So they said, we need to fix this. We need to fix the Articles of Confederation, figure out something that's going to work. There was no judicial branch. There was no executive branch. There was no executive branch because they were afraid of one person having a lot of power. The states had court systems, but they didn't have anything at the federal level. So at this point, the only branch of government at the federal level, and by the federal level, I mean like the national level, the central level, was Congress. All they had was a lawmaking body. That was it. So at this point, we see that Washington invites delegates or representatives from Virginia and Maryland to his home to resolve a conflict. You would say, why don't they just take it to court? They can't take it to court because there's no national court system. They have state court systems, but chances are Maryland will say that Maryland's right and Virginia will say that Virginia's right. So therefore, Washington serves as the moderator, but obviously George Washington cannot mitigate every argument that takes place between states in the United States. So what he does is he invites them to his home, and then ultimately we're going to see that he calls for a revision to the Articles. Now, at first, all they wanted to do was revise the Articles. They didn't want to create a constitution. That wasn't what was on their mind. Okay, so they decide that they have to figure it out and revise what they have because it's clearly not working. So we have the Constitutional Convention. So at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, delegates debated competing plans. They looked at the Virginia plan of government and the New Jersey plan. These plans were created to figure out what structure of government they wanted to have for the United States. In order to finalize the Constitution, the delegates had to make compromises on some pretty key issues. You guys have to read about the Virginia plan and answer some questions in your workbooks, I believe, right? I think so. Venn diagram. So we're going to look at this really quick. What? I just want my webcam. Where'd my webcam go? Do you guys know? Why isn't it? Okay. Yep. Okay, that works. Okay, so here we have, you guys don't need to. This is stupid. Okay, hold on. Oh, I know what to do. Sit down in your thinking chair and think. All right, here we go. All right, so look. Here we are. we are taking a look at the Virginia and the New Jersey plans before we get started on our notes. You guys have to look at this for homework, so you should know a little bit about it. For example, Virginia plan. Who supported the Virginia plan? Colleen? Larger states, right? Excellent. We are off to a fantastic start. Large states. And girls, everybody, who supported the New Jersey plan? Who? Thank you, guys. Small states. Excellent. Okay. What were some things they both shared? Sierra?
They both wanted a strong central government.
Both called for a strong central government. What else? Can they see that? Backwards. Nope, that's that. Okay. They both called for a strong central government. What else? What else did they share? Lauren?
They both had the power to regulate and commerce tax.
They both agreed on the power to regulate commerce? Is that what you're saying? Oh, yeah. Looking for a big one. Remember how much I was talking about the branches earlier? Nicole?
Have to decide on representation of Congress.
No, nope. They disagreed on that. One more thing that they agreed on was they wanted 3 branches of government. They wanted 3 branches. All right. Tell me a little bit more about the Virginia plan. What did it call for? What did the Virginia plan call for? Go ahead, Sierra.
A bicameral legislature.
A bicameral legislature, meaning 2 houses. Excellent. This is backwards for the girls at home. This is not going to work. Hang on. So, Virginia plan versus New Jersey plan. Things in common are strong central government, which is key, and the 3 branches. All right? And then we're going to look specifically at the Virginia plan. The Virginia plan was supported by larger states, called for a bicameral legislature, which meant 2 houses in the legislature, and this is like for Congress, legislative branch. What else, guys? What else about the Virginia plan? What else can you tell me? Go ahead, Sierra.
The representative,
One more, a little bit louder, that's all.
they grant the representative with the population of the state.
Excellent. Each house in Congress, membership in each house in Congress would be determined based on the state's population. Meaning, if you have a big state, you have more people living in it, therefore you need more representation. That was the idea of the Virginia plan. Okay, anything else for the Virginia plan? I think that's about it. Oh, Gianna, go ahead.
Didn't they want more power for the central government than the smaller states? They the smaller states and not the articles more?
Exactly, right? This steered away from the articles, willing to give more power to central government. Good. Excellent. And this was proposed by Edmund Randolph, and it was basically based off James Madison's ideas. Excellent. Excellent. Now we're going to look at the New Jersey plan. Who supports, oh, I'm sorry, do you guys need me to go up a little bit? Who supports the New Jersey plan? We all know that it's already smaller states. What kind of legislature? Go ahead. Unicameral legislature, excellent, which means one house. How would this be determined, the membership in here? Go ahead. Excellent. Equal membership. And do you guys know specifically what the equal membership would be? How many per state? One per state. Good. This was very similar to the Articles of Confederation. Proposed by William Patterson of New Jersey. Awesome. And now, so that's that. I think I'm just gonna go over a couple more things you had for homework, because you guys had homework that were basically these questions. Did you have questions in your book for homework or no? You did, right? Like 1A?
We have to know the textbook and the book.
Got it, yeah, okay. So I think that another thing I wanna ask you guys is, so how did they resolve this? How did they compromise? How did they figure out what form of government they wanted? What did they, like, what conclusion did they come to? Like, oh, okay, this would work instead. Because neither of these would work, because the big states are too afraid of the equal. The big states wanted more representation than the small states because they were more populated, more people lived there. The smaller states were afraid that their opinions would be drowned out and that nobody would listen to them, because states like Virginia and Pennsylvania would have, 10, 15 more representatives than them. They thought that their voices wouldn't be heard because they're a small state. So instead of having either of these plans, which neither state would be happy with, they came up with something different. A man from Connecticut named Roger Sherman came up with something different. Do you guys know what that is? Excellent, the Great Compromise. It's a great big compromise, Charlie Brown. Okay, so we have the Great Compromise. It was proposed by Roger Sherman of Connecticut, and it called for a bicameral legislature, right? So that was adopted by the idea of the Virginia plan. It called for a bicameral legislature, and it pretty much steered away from the Articles of Confederation. Again, this is for Congress, 2 houses. Do you guys know what these houses are called? House of Representatives and a Senate. Now, the House of Representatives. How is membership decided in the House of Representatives? Yep. They vote. How many people do they vote for? Basically, what I'm asking is, the House of Representatives, how do they decide? I want to ask this. So basically, girls, you know how Virginia wanted to make sure that membership was based on population? Roger Sherman said, listen, we'll let one house be determined by population, and that's the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives membership was based on population, and it varied state to state. Okay? Now we have the Senate. Do you guys know how many senators there are? Sierra? 100. Why is there 100, Sierra? Excellent. Always 2 senators per state. This satisfied the smaller states. And obviously up here, this idea of based on population, this satisfied the larger states. Oh, I'll move that up for you guys in a second. Are we good? Does this make sense? Do you know why each of these states wanted each of their plans? Do you guys know why the Virginia plan wanted a bicameral legislature with both houses based on population? It's so that more Virginians would have more say when decisions were being made about the country, so that they could have things their way. Think of it this way. Think, what if we did say, well, we did, but what if Congress was only based on population? What if Congress was only based on population? Look at it this way. What if, for example, we're voting on the slave trade, right? Because that's one of the compromises that they talked about was the slave trade. If our government was only, if the membership in the Congress was only based on population, the bigger states in the South would dominate. The bigger states in the South could possibly dominate. And whenever a question was, or a vote or a decision had to be made regarding slavery, they would vote in favor of slavery. States like New Jersey, who are super tiny and don't have as big populations, they would be drowned out their voices wouldn't be heard because it would be canceled out by all of the other people, all the other representatives from the bigger states. Does that make sense? Which is why they wanted to make sure that every state's voice would be heard no matter what, by having an equal number of senators. Okay, what were the compromises that they made before they passed what compromises were made before they decided to move forward? How's the question answered? Oh, what were the key issues regarding slavery that needed to be compromised? Name one. What were the key issues of slavery that needed to be compromised? Go ahead, Colleen.
They didn't know whether to count them in the population.
Whether to count the slave population with the state's overall population to increase representation. And what was the second issue? Go ahead.
If slavery should be legal in the Northwest.
So they actually decided that it wouldn't. Right away, the Articles of Confederation, because they passed the Northwest Ordinance, and it talked about adding new states to the Union, but also banned slavery in the new states in the Northwest. But it is, so you're on the right track though. What is the answer to this? What was the second compromise they made regarding slavery in the Union? Go ahead, Gianna.
The slave trade, it should still be a thing.
The continuation of the slave trade. Okay, and what were the answers, guys? So, sorry, I was just typing aggressively. So the compromise would agree to count 3/5 of the slave population within the state towards the state's overall population to determine representation in Congress. That's why, what does this mean? I'm here to tell you in about 2 minutes. It's 2:45. Girls, basically with this, right? With this, and also, Here's the population of a state. A population of the state of Virginia is 30,000 people. Nope, going to use a smaller number than that. It's 500 people. Of these 500 people, 200 are white men. 300 of these people are enslaved, right? So what they said was it's not fair to count the entire enslaved population towards your population because technically they aren't citizens. That was the argument. So they said, fine, we'll count 3/5. So that way, Virginia, rather than only having 200 members of the population, they counted 3/5 of the slave population, which led them to having more representation in Congress. Does that make sense? In addition to that, slave trade continued protected for 20 years. Okay, have a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday. You do not have homework. Woo! Thanks, Miss Weiss. You're welcome, guys. Happy Funky Friday. I hope you have a funky Saturday too.
Stop.